Members of the US-led anti-ISIS coalition are meeting in Washington, planning what's being touted as a final push against the jihadist group in their strongholds in Iraq and Syria. But a new report by European agency Europol today presented some troubling findings that may throw a spanner in the works. I24 News defence correspondent Anna Aronheim explains.
Nice, Brussels, the deadly trend in Europe has continued into this year. According to the EU law enforcement agency Europol, 2015 saw the most terror attacks across the continent since records started being kept in 2006. 211 attacks, 151 people killed, and over 360 injured in attacks carried out by Islamic terrorists and various separatist groups. So-called separatist terrorism, based on nationalist motives, accounted for the majority of attacks, although the report noted a slight decrease from previous years. By contrast, a significant increase in the number of jihadist attacks, from 4 in 2014 to 17 in 2015. Some 1,077 terrorism-related arrests were made, a majority of them occurring in France, with 424 individuals detained. The report also highlighted two significant developments: the rise of nationalist, racist, and anti-Semitic sentiment across the continent, and a substantial number of Europeans who have returned from abroad after fighting with the Islamic State. And with jihadist attacks on the rise, defense ministers of the US-led anti-IS coalition are meeting in Washington.
We also discussed how we can continue to combat ISIL wherever it might attempt to take hold, and how our military campaign can best support our national government's efforts to protect our respective homelands and our people.
Pledging to destroy the, quote, jihadist tumor in Syria and Iraq and combat the metastases of IS attacks across the globe, the ministers are set to review the now 2-year-long campaign, which has so far failed to destroy the Islamic State.
Let's get more on this now. Anna Aronheim is with me in studio. Anna, thanks for being with us. Tell me, you said that ISIS may put more emphasis on operations abroad, and this as the Western military alliance puts more effort on taking back areas from ISIS in Iraq and Syria. Was this to be expected?
Of course. I mean, any group that loses territory, like the Islamic State, I mean, they're going to want to expand their range of operations. They can't battle who they call kuffar in their territory of Syria and Iraq. And
kuffar meaning infidel.
Exactly, the infidel, sorry. But we also can't forget that they're doing the same all over the world, in Libya, in Yemen, in Egypt. But of course, when they're losing their ground, especially near their strongholds of Mosul and Raqqa, they're definitely going to go abroad to Europe, to North America, to Southeast Asia. We've even seen attacks there, to Russia, to South America. We saw today that 10 people were arrested in Brazil planning terror attacks for the upcoming Olympics.
But you mentioned Mosul, and the US-led coalition has been talking about retaking that stronghold in Iraq. When will this happen, and can we expect to see more displaced people if and when this does happen, as we saw, for example, in Fallujah?
Well, the battle to retake Mosul has already begun. It began weeks ago. They're now really pushing towards the city, at least 60 kilometers away, which is a fair distance, but it's a lot better than where they were a few months ago. Now, in regards to, are we going to see more residents fleeing the city? Of course. There are thousands of people stuck in the city under the Islamic State rule. The Islamic State, when they were in Ramadi and Fallujah, they held these people hostage. Even when they were trying to escape, there were also reports of men being executed by the Islamic State for trying to flee. So, of course, we will definitely see, once the push on the city begins, and I'm not talking about the push towards the city, but on the city, we're definitely going to see a lot more people trying to flee.
Anna, and you will continue to update us on